Okay, so first I'd like to ask each of the directors if you could just introduce yourself and tell us which was your film.
Hi, my name's Emma Gobolo, and I was the director of Clare.
Hi, I'm Christy Canicella. I was the director of Forever Not Maybe.
All right, so let me first ask, I'll start with Emily. Can you tell us a little bit about the concept, where it came from, where was sort of the background story?
Yeah, so the background story of it, it's based on a true story that happened in my life. I guess I am Claire. So there's like no easy way to say this, but when I was 8, I lost my grandparents. My uncle killed my grandparents, and obviously he passed away as well. And so basically the day before and the day after that happened is what inspired the film.
I should have gone first.
I'm sorry.
The background of this film, I wanted to make just one of those really classic Hollywood love stories, but with a more current kind of twist to it.
So making an independent film, of course, there's many, many challenges. We're often working on limited budgets, limited resources. Can you tell us some of the challenges in making the film?
Start with me. Okay.
Wait, is it gonna be really sad?
Oh no, it was actually
Right,
such a fun. We had a ball shooting this. So this was my junior year thesis film for NYU, and it was definitely a challenging movie. I think the biggest challenge was just doing the water scenes, obviously, just shooting on the water and making sure that everything was safe for Maxine, our young actress, ingenue. But yeah, that was probably our biggest challenge.
I think my biggest challenge is the movies that are in my head are about $10 million. And so when I wrote the script of this movie, I had these really grand ideas. Elizabeth was supposed to be playing the piano at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, which is the biggest orchestral pavilion in Los Angeles, and Sasha was supposed to work at the House of Blues. So trying to fake it to give you the idea of what they were doing. I mean, I couldn't afford. It was 15 grand to rent the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion per day. That's an 8-hour day. So getting all of that into my little independent film was quite the challenge.
And what about casting? Again, that could be a challenging part. Did you audition a lot of people?
I did. I went through a really big audition process, especially for Claire, the child. And we auditioned probably 30, 40 child actresses, and ended up with Maxine. So, love you, Maxine. You're great.
It was really great. It was a really beautiful film. So my Sasha, I plucked her from another. So in the lesbian culture, we have what's called Celesbians. It's actors who have portrayed lesbians or are lesbians in other projects. So Mandala is in this feature film called Alavari. And I met her at a film festival while I was starting to come up with this film, and I was like, who do I have access to that will be in my movie she's Australian. I don't know, if you watch it again, you can hear her accent come out every once in a while. It's her first American film. So she was easy. Now the tough thing was my French-speaking actors. So I don't speak French, and I was basing Elizabeth on my dream woman. And my dream woman is a French piano player, and that was very challenging because you would not believe how few French people live in LA. You'd be very shocked. So actually Marie is French Canadian, so I'm hoping that if French people see it, they don't get mad at me. Roxanne, her friend, is actually French. But we went through a couple months just finding people, and we had another actor who I was really interested in because she really portrayed this French model-esque. It reminds me of Cate Blanchett in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button when she's ballet dancer, just had this, but her accent was like Pepe Le Pew. And we gave her so many opportunities, go home and this is what we're looking for, and she would come back and still sound like Pepe Le Pew. So Marie was a shoo-in because when I got into the process and I fell in love with the character because of what she brought to the table, it really was a special experience.
Does anybody have any questions for either of the filmmakers? Yes. Go ahead.
Hi, Christy. I'm Lisa.
Someone I've never met before in my entire life.
Never. So, When I met you years ago, you explained to me that this was going to be a web series. What made it turn into a feature film for you?
Well, that would be Mandala. Mandala Rose plays Sasha, and so before I did this, I had one short film under my belt. It was this screwball lesbian romantic comedy that's now on YouTube. It's called Once Upon a Zipper, if you want to look it up. And so when I snagged onto Mandala, who is our Celestine, I was like, obviously I'm going to make money from her name because she's going to have fans when her movie hits Netflix. So I did a crowdfunding campaign, and I really only thought that we were going to, I didn't think that we were going to be able to shoot for as many days as we did. And we went to crowdfunding, and we made enough to shoot for 5 days. We shot this over the course of 3 years, which was really traumatizing because we had, like, the guy that played Scott, 1 year he had a beard, the next year he didn't have a beard, and Marie, Elizabeth, went on an exercise binge, and now she's like a supermodel looking, and so just to try to even them all out over the years. But we shot for 5 days in 1 day in 2015, 5 days in 2016, went back to crowdfunding, and then I was like, I'm not going to be able to finish this. It's a 96-page script. We only shot 62 of it. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to shoot all of this. And then when we went back to crowdfunding, we were able to shoot for 5 more days and create a cohesive project. And my DP was like, make it a feature. Like this, if you make this a feature, then it's going to help you more than having a web series out there. And I was really grateful that she said that, and she did so much to make it as beautiful as it is.
Any other questions? Yeah, well, let me ask, filmmakers that I speak to very often have a favorite scene or moment in their film. Do either of you have a moment that you feel is your favorite?
Oh, geez. That's a good question. I think for me, my favorite moment in my film is the final scene between the mother and the daughter, because I remember when that happened to me so vividly, and I think that Lisa, you did such a fantastic job, and Maxine as well. It just, it feels very authentic to the experience, and that's fun, in a way.
I have a couple scenes that really reels it in for me. One is the scene between Elizabeth's mom and Elizabeth when she's a kid. Is by far my favorite scene in the movie, but I have a favorite, like a very selfishly favorite moment where when they're in bed together and Elizabeth says, it's going to be real, I can't remember the line, I'm not the actor, I just wrote it. She says, it's going to be more difficult than that to get rid of me. You're going to find that I'm going to always come back. And that to me is like, because I work in the industry that Sasha works in, where it's you just never see the person that you're with. And in my experience, they go and then they never come back. So I was like, in this world, she is always going to come back no matter what they go through. She is always going to be that constant in her life. And then, it all ties back in when you meet her mom and realize why she's so particular, like why she comes back to the people that she loves, because she lost her mom so young. And I think that just is so special.
Is there any other screenings or any other places it's going to be released, online, theatrical screenings, festivals?
I've submitted it to a couple other festivals, but I don't hear back from them, obviously, for the next couple months. But yeah, I mean, if anyone wants, I can shoot you a Vimeo link. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I am as well waiting to hear for festival notifications, but this movie was made for, because I have the lesbian audience is an audience that I speak to a lot. I now have 2 short films, Once Upon a Zipper, and then I have another short film that Lisa actually executive produced called August in the City, which is on the festival circuit. So I was speaking directly to that audience, and so apart from the screenings, I'm going to create a tour so that I can go to the communities and do screenings in the LGBTQ centers and things like that, so people can come out and see it in their towns. Huh? Yeah. And I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us. It was just such a beautiful festival.
Thank you. All right, and I'm going to ask just one final question here. Do either of you have any projects coming up? Do you have another film?
I do. Or do you want to go first? I actually just am finishing up my senior thesis film, also based on a true story. Buckle your seatbelts. My elementary school vice principal embezzled money from our elementary school for like a decade. And when she was found out, she burned her house down in an apparent suicide, but her body was never found. And so my film takes place on the last day she was seen alive. So that kind of like
I would
kind of
imagine you have sort of a built-in audience, because
I-
anyone in that community is going to want
Yeah,
to see this movie.
my
right?
neighbors are very excited to see
Yeah.
the film.
You're right, I should have got first. So I have a couple of movies that I'm pitching right now. I have a bisexual performance-based musical romantic comedy that is made for my fabulous friend Lane Moore, who is so kind to have come with me. She's an incredible comic and also in a band, and her music is incredible. So we based it all around her and her love for romantic comedy endings. I also, I have a couple screenplays. I really love magical realism, so I have 2 dramatic magical realism movies and my overwhelming theme of all my stuff tends to be complex women trying to find their way back home. And then I also have, which is actually a semifinalist in this festival, a Christmas movie. It's a feel-good lesbian Christmas movie with that same theme of her finding her way home.
Well, I want to thank I want to thank the filmmakers, and I want to thank the audience, and thank you all for coming out. We're here until May 18th. Thank you.